We are live. Welcome back. Ladies and gentlemen, I am your host, Blake Ruffino. This is Are You Serious Sports. Hope all of you are making it a good one. We know that we are as well. Nice little weekend to be able to sit outside. Wasn't too hot, wasn't too cold, and watch some LSU baseball as they go 3-1 this weekend versus Stony Brook in Northern Illinois. Losing a game on Friday against Stony Brook, and then getting their revenge on a Sunday. We will talk about just the weekend it was with LSU. Baseball-wise, we do have some football news that we got to get into here. Wilson Alexander, the Advocate, actually sat down with Brian Kelly and before camp, which starts next week, by the way, and he gave Wilson some updates on what we can expect from spring. So we will touch on that throughout the show here today or tonight as well. Jack DeLonchamp, or DeLonchamp, excuse me, joins us at 7:30. We're going to talk a lot of college baseball here tonight after or when Jack comes on from Pencil Talk. Dude is absolutely killing it when it comes to college baseball content. What those guys are doing over at 11.7 is absolutely ridiculous. One of the best follows that you will have is over 11.7 if you're a big college baseball fan, and with Jack as well. So looking forward to having him on and joining us at 7:30. We'll talk a little bit of basketball. We'll just talk about sports in general at the end. And, you know, as always, at the end there, we'll field some of your questions, thoughts, or concerns. So we have a big show in store for you. Carter the Power Bryant is not here tonight. He is not feeling well. So we look forward for number one, Carter getting better, and number two, him joining us on the show, but he had to miss this Monday. Dane says, good evening, Blake. Good to have you in here with us, Dane. Tyler Townsend, who actually has got a Carter Bryant PHL shirt on in his photo here, says, let's go from Blanchard, Louisiana, the 318. The 3-1 great. Good to have you in here with us as well. Kenny said, I had a good time at the box yesterday. Yesterday was a great day for baseball in Louisiana. Outside of that car catching on fire, it was a really good day for baseball. Really, really, really good day of baseball. And softball as well, as Beth Tarina and her Tigers now up to number 3 in the polls. Look, man, I do think that Beth Tarina had a lot of pressure on her. There were a lot of chatter around her and the program. They have responded early this year, and she has responded early this year, and that the ladies softball team has done really well. Now, I would assume because Beth always has some really good regular seasons, her or what she does is going to be dictated on in the postseason. I think that she knows that, but I also think that she has a really good squad. She's got her 500th win here. Can she continue? And if she does, man, watch out for the Lady Tiger softball team. Pull out another late game early against Boise State, 3-2. Have a really good weekend as well. But Beth Tarina and her Tigers have been really good early in this year. Hitting the ball all over the place, too. Got a lot of talented young freshmen. So happy for Beth and the squad. Dylan says, what's up, brother? From Goldsboro, North Carolina, the 919 is in the building. I will say this because you said you're in Goldsboro, North Carolina. North Carolina, born and raised. Some of y'all probably don't know that reference. The kid Honeycutt from North Carolina, the center fielder, or he was playing center field, that kid is a baller. Baseball-wise. If you haven't seen North Carolina play, which they're normally pretty good, that kid Honeycutt can really play. But thank you for joining us from all the way in North Carolina, the beautiful part of the country. Dylan laughs. He knows I'm talking about Petey Pablo. He knows I'm talking a little Petey Pablo here. North Carolina, born and raised. Take your shirt off. Swish it around like a helicopter. If LSU makes the playoffs, I might do that live on this show. I might rip my shirt off and throw it around like a helicopter. Our good friend Stephen Fry, also our good friends over at Fry Construction. Site and land development, oil and gas services, commercial construction, aggregate and soil hauling, waste containers, demolition. They do it all. They're over in Eunice, Louisiana. Get on over there. Give them a call. Let them know that Blake sends you on by. But Stefan says, Blake, it's going to be specific. Blake, it's got to be the specific weight class that Perk is in that makes it so damn hard for BK to find a solidified position for him. I agree with that. That's why I jokingly mentioned safety a few weeks ago. Yeah, I just don't think that number one, I think that that's a really good point that you make. I also think that, Brian Kelly, which we'll talk about out of the gate here on the show, I do think that he and Blake Baker have had a conversation about what they want to do. Let's see how it happens this spring. Now, again, we'll be out there next week. I think it starts on the 3rd or 4th. I don't remember when camp starts and when they're going to give us those availabilities, but we will be out there, and you can follow AYS wherever you're on social medias. We will be out there watching all of that and being at all the practices. Yeah, I can't disagree with you, but we'll touch on it. Jason Champagne says, take your shirt off and twist it around your head spin, or take it around, swish it around like a helicopter. Lance says, God, no, do not rip your shirt off and throw it around like a helicopter. True. Very true. Blaine Smith says, Cam Newton fighting everybody. Well, we talked about this morning or mid-morning on our Around Your SEC show. By the way, if you have not already, or you don't know it, you hadn't come back, you hadn't seen it, you hadn't listened, we have launched a Around Your SEC mid-morning Monday and Wednesdays for now. But Monday and Wednesdays, we go around your SEC and talk with a lot of good guests. We had to reschedule today. But David Waters will be joining us tomorrow. We'll talk a little bit of Florida, a lot of good stuff that we got to talk about. But we talked about that Cam Newton situation. Look, man, if you are a normal, everyday human being, you're 6 foot, 180 pounds, you have no business trying to do anything with Cam Newton when it comes to a physical altercation. Cam Newton didn't even throw a punch, and he throwing dudes around like he's Petey Pablo. Speaking of Petey Pablo, throwing around like a helicopter. Huh? Huh? You thought you could do this to me? You think you could do this to me? Anyway, so yeah, I do agree. All right. We'll get a couple more before we get rolling. Clyde says mid-morning show was great. I agree. We'll continue to do it. We'll go around your SEC. I think we'll talk a little bit more Florida. We got to go up to South Carolina. We need to go down to Arkansas. We need to go over to Alabama, and we've been to Georgia already. We got to – the whole state of Texas hates me, so I don't know how long it's going to take us to get to Texas, but we are trying. We are 1,000% trying to talk to some people out of the state of Texas. They are just, yeah. So we'll see. All right, let's get rolling. Where's everybody watching the show from tonight? Are you in the 225, the 318, the 337, 225, 504, 985? Where are you watching from tonight? Or you might not even be in the state of Louisiana. But again, first time watching us, don't give us just the area code. What city are you in? What city are you repping tonight? All right, let's get rolling. Got lots to discuss. Jack DeLonchamp joins us at 7:30. We talk a little bit about college baseball, what he thinks about LSU. He will be there this weekend as well. We got some football that we need to discuss. Guys, camp is next week. Spring camp starts next week. Brian Kelly gives an address through Wilson Alexander, so we need to talk about that out of the gate. And by the way, why is everybody freaking out again on Jaden Daniels? God bless Jesus America. And Jesus is America. I just don't understand this. But here we are. So about good friends over at betonline.ag, our good friend Tyler Alexander over at LPT Realty, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Share it wherever you're watching us. Share those groups, social media pages. Hit that subscribe and notification bell. We greatly appreciate when y'all do that. Stay with us. We're back next. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way for you to wager on all of your favorite sports, contests, events with the first-to-market odds and lines. Find reviews for all the news for each league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, college sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all of your sports information for live in-game betting, props, and futures. Head on over to BetOnline today and use your mobile device to join and make your first sports bet. Use our promo code BELIEVE50, that's BELIEVE50, BLEAV 50, to receive your 50% off welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, betonline.ag.
He will sell your house and find you a new. Well, Tyler's the man, he's here for you. If you want to buy or sell, well, it's not too late. Dial 955-0008. Just call 955-0008. Y'all call Tyler, he'll shoot you straight.
We're back on this glorious episode 882. Everybody does us a favor out of the gate and hits the like and share. So, look, we're going to recap LSU baseball. We need to push that back just a quick minute because we'll have Jack on and we'll talk a lot of baseball in the middle part and later part of the show. We do need to get to this because Wilson Alexander of The Advocate spoke with Brian Kelly in an exclusive interview. A couple of weeks ago, Brian Kelly had mentioned in a press conference that obviously that he would need some offensive linemen to transition from the O-line to the D-line for numbers this spring. Brian Kelly announced through Wilson that Kimo Macanole is going to be going from offense to defense and playing defensive tackle. Also, Ahmad Bro, who is a new freshman and midterm enrollee, will, quote-unquote, probably have to take some snaps in the interior of the defense this spring. Guys, I can continue to tell you this, but it is a massive concern. If you have the thought or take that Bo Davis can just instantly walk in, which he can, and I'm not saying he can't, Bo Davis, from a position group standpoint, there is no bigger climb on this team than the interior of the defensive line. Zero. None. Nada. Zilch. Brian Kelly admits that by moving Kimo Macanole from the offensive side of the football to the defensive side of the football. Now, I do believe that you could have used a guy, God bless it, his name slips in my mind. It was on the tip of my mind, and then I just couldn't I can't remember his name. But you could have used some of the guys that did transfer and went into the portal. Fitzgerald West, that's it. You could have used, thank you guys. You could have used Fitzgerald West. You could have used some other guys that you had there for depth purposes. Now you're going to have to move a guy who spent this going into his third year on the offensive side of the ball. Now he'll have to be learning new things like everybody else and Blake Baker's playbook and what Bo Davis wants him to do. You don't have a choice, though. And maybe it might be good for Kimo to get on that side of the ball, maybe show a little bit of some of his athleticism that I think he does have. Guys, he is a pretty athletic kid. He's just not big enough to, at least in my opinion, to have an impact or even crack the depth chart with how good this LSU offensive line is big with Brad Davis, the O-line coach. Ahmad Bro moving into the inside, I think, is really interesting to me. You got a midterm enrollee that's, look, if you want to get snaps, you want to try to make some plays, you want to go into next season, us trusting in you, this could be a very, very big thing for a guy in the Ruston native, Ahmad Bro. Look, you're going to be undersized at this, or he is going to be undersized at this position, but if he can go out there and make some plays as a freshman and do some really good and quality things, who knows what's going to happen here? But he's getting the opportunity to make his name known when it comes to who could potentially have and be some rotational pieces that they get in there. The problem with that is I just don't think it's fair to Ahmad Bro to have to move him inside as a freshman. And I wouldn't be surprised if Ahmad Bro and Dylan Carpenter, if you're going to move Ahmad Bro, you sure as hell would move a guy like Dylan Carpenter to that role as well. Both guys are just undersized. And I think, look, we go out to camp next week. Spring football starts for LSU football next week. I fully expect there to be an outright dominance to some extent for this offensive line against this defensive line. I think it's the biggest differential. It's the biggest area where you're so dominant on one end and so how do I want to say this? I don't want to say you're bad because you're not bad. You're so depleted on the other side with the defensive line. It's going to be the most intriguing, matchup this spring. And I will tell you, it's going to lead to a little bit of I don't want to say self-confidence for this O-line that I don't think that they need, but it's not going to get, or arguably I can make the argument, it's not going to show us what we need to see from that position group. Because again, you just don't have the bodies and the dudes up front that can take those reps for you, that can give you a good enough look. And I just think that LSU is going to run the ball really effectively this spring. You come out of camp and you're going to hear Caleb Jackson's running the ball really well. Josh Williams is running the ball really well. Hell, they got a walk-on here and there that's running the ball really well. Well, all that's going to signify is that it's going to be a massive concern for the defensive side of things. One other thing that Wilson spoke with Brian Kelly as well is about Harold Perkins and the role that he sees here. A part of the article and part of what Brian Kelly told Wilson was, in speaking about Perkins, is that he needs to be more involved in the linebacker fits inside. It's going to make us a better defense. And I fully do agree with Brian Kelly on that. Perkins is just going to have to take that next step when it comes to being a true linebacker. He's going to have to fit in the running game better than he has the last 2 years. You hire a guy like Blake Baker, you've seen as an LSU fan the transformation that he can have. Well, now you have your head coach saying your best defensive player is going to stay at linebacker, and he's going to get those reps. He's going to get the reps with Blake Baker. So the ultimate question becomes, Blake Baker that we have seen be at LSU and transform a guy's career like a Damone Clark, can he do something like that even more with a guy like Perkins? The biggest concern that I have ever had with Perkins has not been how he sets the edge, how he tackles in the open field, none of it, because none of that has been the true concern. What has been the true concern is when a team starts running the football right at him, the reaction and what he does during those run fits when he gets double teamed, guys, he is a non-factor. And a lot of times, like, for example, the Alabama game, he didn't get double teamed. They went man-on-man with him, and he did not win a lot of those battles. He's got to get stronger in this offseason. Now, he's been a little banged up and injured, so I would assume that they keep him out of some of these things. Like, hey, man, take the reps. We're not going to get you in these team periods. There's no reason to get yourself hurt here. But Blake Baker has got one hell of an athlete that he can help mold. And I would expect that they're going to find different ways to get him to the quarterback. Here's one thing that I will say that I think that we as fans look at, that maybe Blake Baker will be unique enough to utilize a guy like Harold Perkins differently. Guys, to rush the passer, Perkins does not have to always come off the edge. Technically, you can scheme things up for him if you're Baker And a guy like Harold Perkins, who can run down anybody literally in all of college football, do stunts and twists to do a delay blitz to get Perkins to the quarterback instead of making him so one-dimensional at rushing off the edge. You know, one thing that I don't think that Matt House tried or did enough was send Perk up the middle enough. Now, he did it sometimes, but all he did was send Perk right at a center, 1v1. No, you got to get stunts and twists. You got to do different things, and you got to actually scheme stuff open for a guy like Perkins. That's what you do with your best players. You do things to scheme them open. I think that that's another avenue that they're going to have to utilize. Guys, most of you watched every single snap of LSU football last year. Some of you are so chaotic you watched it more than once. The biggest area for me that you got to get better at is rushing the passer. You just were not good enough at all. Got to get better at defending the run too. And Perkins has got to be a part of that. I think that's really interesting that Brian Kelly, comes out and says, look, man, and he had to answer that. Now, let's see what happens. We got a long way until the opening kickoff. There's no telling what can happen. This is a time where you experiment with a lot of things and figure out what you can and cannot do. Okay. I will say this. I am very much looking forward to getting out to camp, to spring camp. So, yeah. Joe Mayu says, just say it. He's referencing what I was going to say about the defensive line. All right, I'll say it. I don't think it's fair for any of us to give Bo Davis, okay, he can just go in the spring portal. It's a lazy take. Let's be honest. Can he? 1,000%. Would not be shocked if he does. But they're not. There's a reality where there's not good enough players that hit that spring portal that can come here. There is a reality of that happening. Will it happen? I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. Just don't think it's fair for us to say, like, hey, man, we're just going to go in the portal and get 2 DTs. Going and getting them and them being bona fide starters are 2 completely different things that you have no idea that you can go and get. And by the way, you're not the only team, you're not the only people group that are going after that same defensive tackle that's in the portal. There are going to be other teams going after him too. Other teams need defensive tackles. I promise you. I can name 6 off the top of my head just in your own conference. Hell, the whole west side from Mississippi over needs another DT. Maybe Ole Miss. Maybe Ole Miss would be the exception. Maybe. But from Mississippi over, every single one needs one. Okay. We can talk a little bit of baseball here too, but actually I think we're just going to do that with well, let me think. I was just going to say I think we're going to just do that with Jack. We might just do that. I will say this though. I don't know how many of you watched a lot this weekend baseball wise. I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall to find out what Jay Johnson said to this team. Coming out of Saturday, guys, I mean, you got to admit, I'm looking at all the games that we wrote everything down. They just didn't hit enough until Sunday when the bullpen and the starters are pretty much depleted for all the other teams that you saw. This is going to be a massive weekend for Jay. I would expect Cade Anderson probably to go against Rice. And then you see either Gage jump, you see Luke Holman and Thatcher Hurd. But that's how I see this going. I think you go Jump. I think you go Holman. And I think you should go Hurd. That's 100% how I think you should go this weekend. So, look, you had a game Friday night, which we talked about a lot. You had a game in Friday that was unappealing, right? Like, Stony Brook came out with a guy that could probably be an ace on a lot of Power 5 teams, or at least a top 2 guy, and you had no answer. One thing that is going to get me in probably a little bit of trouble. Tommy Tanks has hit into a lot of double plays this year. Look, the hard thing about saying anything about Tommy White or to Tommy White is, man, he's so freaking good. He's good because of his aggressiveness. Now, it gets him in a lot of trouble sometimes. And look, I know your concerns about this LSU baseball team. I think walks have been a massive issue. I think timely hitting, which it's February 26th. We're talking, that this fan base is just crazy when we're talking about timely hitting in February. Oh my God. We have the bases loaded. I mean, okay. In April, bases loaded, Tommy Tanks up. He's probably going to send that, as Lynn Rollins would say, he's probably going to hit a ball that's going to be puckered up and kissed goodbye. I mean, that is the bottom line. But as of right now, I agree. The walks for LSU has been a problem. Timely hitting with runners in scoring position has been a problem. Guys, outside of Sunday, you're 2 of 21 with runners in scoring position. I know Jay well enough to know this, and have been around Jay enough to know this. Jay does not show to the general public his demeanor. I guarantee you Saturday night, nobody went home. Actually, maybe a little birdie chirped in my ear. Jay is not going to fly with him when you got this many dudes on base, this many opportunities with runners in scoring position for you to do what you've done. Guys, of the 21 plate appearances, this is the last thing I tell you before we get to Jack. The team's telling me our guest is here. Here's what I would say about this team. Guys, I feel like they're maybe I'm a homer. You know what? You're going to call me a homer anyway. Shit, let's just say it. I think that you've had good enough at-bats where you've had big-time opportunities. Guys, you're one pitch away from these opportunities completely changing, like what happened in the first couple innings against Stony Brook on Sunday. You think they were pissed off? Tommy Takes getting the gat on first. Bear Jones hit a baseball that made a car just come to life and spark and come to fire. Actually, that's not what happened, but it is what happened. So, yeah. All right. Let's get to our man, Jack. 11.7. I got to admit, man, because it's so difficult to keep up with every single baseball team. I stalk their media on Twitter because they clip the videos or whatever. And to see the Campbell Camels, they're my second favorite team college baseball-wise. Humpback. Talk about our good friends over the Drake Williams Law Firm, our good friend Carol Foss over at State Farm. Jack joins us next.
By the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. Whether you've been injured in an accident, you're preparing for a future with your estate planning, you're getting ready to close in on a real estate deal, or you're about to welcome a new addition through adoption into your family, or you're facing criminal charges, you need very experienced attorneys, and that is what the Drake Williams Law Firm will be able to do for you in navigating the legal system. The door to their cozy office in historic downtown Ponchatoula has been open since 1981. They have helped thousands and thousands of Louisiana families and individuals win cases, close on real estate deals, and regain that peace of mind. Their lawyers over at the Drake Williams Law Firm, Ernie Drake III, Ryan J. Williams, and Summer Vicnair, are very determined, compassionate, and dedicated to their craft. It's the Drake Williams Law Firm, drakewilliamslawfirm.com. Give them a call today at 985-386-7600. Tell them your good friend Blake Ruffino at AYS sent you on by.
Guys, you might know my good friend Carol Foss and all the great service that he provides over at State Farm. He is your good neighbor after all. But did you know State Farm has surprisingly great rates as well? Along with a great neighbor service, State Farm agent Carol Foss has surprisingly great rates for everyone inside the state of Louisiana. So call him today at 985-395-4300, 985-395-4300 for all of those surprisingly great rates on auto, home, and life insurance needs. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, and individual premiums will vary by customer. All applicants subject to the State Farm underwriting requirements. Jack DeLonchamp. See, you thought probably that I would not get that last name right, but you probably, we're Cajun down here, man. You know we got to get that right.
Fellas, I appreciate you having me. I got to tell you, I knew I was home. I could feel it. I could sense it.
See, I didn't even need any help. I mean, I've seen names like this with more vowels and all of them be Cajun. You got the most Cajun last name of all time.
I got to tell you, it feels right. It feels right. Getting to meet my Bayou people last June in Omaha, I knew that I was home.
It's a good place. And look, Jack, you did a lot of great content, especially at the College World Series. Well, I'm actually going to talk about that with you at the end of this, but wanted to talk a lot of college baseball with you. But the first question I got to ask, has there ever been a baseball bat better made than what Hayden Travinski walked out with there on Thursday, which, by the way, you host a podcast, Pencil Talk, which, just to let everybody know.
I appreciate you. No, to answer your question simply, absolutely not. He rolled out, a tear rolled down my eye. I saw my boy Tommy Tanks warming up with it in the cages. I think he's debuting it for when we're in person in Houston this weekend to see the boy. To answer your question simply, it's maybe the greatest technological advancement that we've seen since the rocket ship.
I have a not road to glory. What do you call that thing? On the show. It's your fantasy kid guy or whatever. A road to the show.
Yeah.
I actually got a pencil bat.
Do you really?
Yeah, you can go bet. Now, I don't have it, but I have a son in there who spent $2.99 on it. Okay, so all I'm going to say is the pencil bat is probably the best bat that I've ever seen. Dude, it's just so cool, man. Number two.
I'll tell you this, when Bryson Stott first whipped it out from Victus Sports, I think it was in the Williamsport Little League World Series Major League Classic deal. Every Monday since I saw them whip it, I've been in Victus's DMs. I know that I'm still a small I'm not kidding. Every Monday I have a copy and pasted message that I send their way. And I'm just, hey, I think there's something beautiful here. But the minute that I saw my Tigers, who treated me better than I could have ever imagined last June, and I know that we're a big, I'll be the homer for you. And I'm just telling you that this has nothing to do with baseball skill and talent. And could not have been more genuine and humble individuals that treated me, like I said, a small fish just trying to chase a dream and telling stories in baseball. Any better? When I see my guys roll out with the pencil bat, it's a dream come true, dude.
They said they did it for you. That's what I heard.
I will say I reached out to Hayden Travinski, who I did get to the opportunity to interview at TD Ameritrade last year after the World Series. And I reached out and I go, you understand what you just did, right? This is the most beautiful collaboration between my favorite people and the most dear object I've ever experienced, the pencil. And he did. He goes, dude, I didn't even put two and two together. And I was like, makes sense. I go, I need Victus to answer my calls, and that's why.
I thought about you when I saw the pencil, because I'm thinking, like, as a content creator, you having a podcast, the Pencil Talk, you talk college baseball, that had to be amazing. But let me stay with the Tigers before we go around college baseball very quickly. Jack, there's been some concern with the Tigers in reference to some of the walks that they've given up. Obviously, you lose to Stony Brook on a Friday. People are like, oh, my God, what's happening? Oh, my God, they suck. But then all of a sudden, they come back on Sunday and absolutely destroy the baseball. I guess through the first 8 games, what have you seen from LSU so far?
Well, first and foremost, I got to tell you, I was listening in far too kind of the words. The 11.7 guys, Dimitri and Ben, have created this monster.
Insane.
Those two guys, I've just been really blessed to be able to find a safe haven to talk ball. Now, let me ask you this. Are people hitting the panic button already?
It's Baton Rouge.
Yeah, I guess that, I should know my people better. Is that what?
I mean, no, not really. But, I mean, Jack, when you go 2 for 21 with runners in scoring position, coming off, or at least having the talent that you have, Tanks, Braswell, Milam, Jones, Travinsky. I mean, Bingham hit 360 in the pack last year. Okay, Kling is projected a second-round pick. I just think that they have concerns about that. Look, I'm not saying I don't think any LSU fan saying, listen, destroy the baseball like you did last year, but 2 for 21 is a little bit of concern.
Very true. Now, you have to understand, LSU fans that are listening, I was a wildly below average college baseball player. I can speak to the difficulties of hitting a baseball. It takes time. There is rust to knock off. And when you're talking about not only a wildly talented group, now you just mentioned some of the dudes, those guys all tore up the Cape last year. So what I would say is, yes, you lost a lot last year, but here's what you lost. You lost veterans. You lost experience. That's
right.
Difficult to replace. You cannot teach 3, 4, 5 years of college baseball. So you still have the talent in place. Michael Braswell was, I think, the most highly recruited shortstop in the country coming out of high school. Josh Pearson absolutely raked in the Cape Cod League last year. If people want to go ahead and freak out and say that the numbers aren't there, it's 250 through the first 2 weeks. You're not allowed to be worried until we get to 6 weeks in. I need volume first. That kid absolutely squares up baseballs. I heard you talking about Bear Jones. I don't know if I've ever seen a more terrifying hitter in the plate right now. I saw the video.
He's Mark McGwire reincarnated without the steroids.
Yeah, you know who he reminds me of for college fans? That he's a lot like Wes Clark, who was at South Carolina, Gamecock a couple years ago.
No doubt.
Strong, physical kid. The bat head's in the zone forever. But when you play with that kind of swagger, where he looks in, I don't know, I'm sure everyone's already seen it by now, where he looks in and goes, I'm going to go hit a homer. And then he hits a homer. Come on. So, man, I would tell you to hold on. I still think, and I said this on the 11.7 pod, I think you guys have, and this isn't just because I'm saying this because I'm on here or because of, how tight I am with it. Tommy White's he's the Golden Spikes player of the year. He is the way he approaches the game, I think his third base and the way he gloves it is wildly underrated. He's going to be a walking 90 RBI guy this year. I would just say breathe. Now, to your point about the mound, I was one of them late May. I didn't believe in the LSU back end. Did you? I don't think many did. But I think to college baseball's testament, man, this game is wildly contagious. Luke Holman has got an 18 strikeouts to 1 walk, right? That's contagious.
Hagen Smith almost had that in one game, but
yeah, that guy's an absolute unicorn. But it's gonna come, right? You got to fill in, and I think Griffin Herring's going to be a guy that's going to be really good. And we're only 2 weeks of seeing him, so just breathe, everybody, just breathe.
Yeah, and Chase Abear sends in a $4.99 super chat. He says Fidel Uoa has been legit when in the game, but Bucknam can't get it together. He's another guy that, look, Jack, tell me if you think that I'm wrong here. And look, this is very early, so we can find out very quickly that this is not true. I think I think I don't even know how to say it, but other than maybe philosophy, last year they just hit their way there. This year, I think they're going to have to pitch their way there. I mean, and to some extent, because look, your point comes to a place for me. Like you said something so good, like you don't get 5 years in baseball. Kay Beloso did not start until halfway through the year. Him and Travinsky, both of them have double-digit home runs by the end of it all. So I don't know if you have that. Like I don't know if that's on the bench for you right now, like you had last year. But I do think a guy like Fidel Uoa has been really good. Let me ask you this question. Rice taking 2 out of 3 from ULL. Am I reading a little bit in too much to the Owls here?
Well, I was going to say, I know we're a Louisiana pod. I think it's more of an indictment on Rice. I think that this is I'll say they're blue blood college baseball program. I think for those that really know,
no
doubt. Right? When you think about Rendon, Berkman from years past, with Cruz at the helm, I think they're in the right track. I don't know if they get back to that hosting a regional-esque like level of ball. They're going to be in that field of 64 though. Like question.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's a really good conference. But I don't, to your point, I don't think you've read too far into it. I think what you've seen is what you're going to get out of them this year. And they did I don't want to bore people with my nerdy college baseball stuff, but they did a good job in the portal. Like they went and got depth, which is what they kind of lacked. They were front head heavy. They didn't have guys to protect their dogs at the top of the lineup. They got deep. They're 1 through 9 really dangerous. And a couple of those pieces in the back end I really liked.
Are you going to be at the game Wednesday with LSU and Rice?
So I'm in Charleston, South Carolina. So working to find it, whether it's Dixon, Ticonderoga, the pencil brand. I'm learning to level up like you, sir. I'm trying to get some sponsors to just in Omaha last year. I slept in the whip for 2 weeks. I'm maybe a little bit too old for that. Maybe not as crazy as I was.
Never.
9 months ago, but I'm flying out, so I'm gonna save the mileage on the wheels. But I'll be in Houston Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So I'll be there Friday night for the UT game.
Let's go around some more college baseball here with you. Jack DeLonchamp is joining us. What has been a surprise team to you so far early in the year that you were just like, dude, I did not see this coming?
I would tell. I mean, I know we're an SEC team, Rave, but the one team that didn't necessarily surprise me, and they probably shouldn't surprise anyone because they were in a super regional last year. Duke. Duke is the real deal. I was lucky enough to be on a broadcast where they took on in the rematch against Coastal Carolina. Duke has created this really unique pipeline from the Ivy Leagues where they've got experienced fifth-year guys that are getting their master's degree and have got one good, more old-fashioned run at making a shot to play professional baseball. Ben Miller, the third baseman, was a Penn guy, a career 300 hitter. They are really good, and they've got 4 All-Americans in the rotation. I was really impressed by them. SEC baseball looks different, and people have said that for a long time from a physicality standpoint. Duke looked apart. Like Duke had defensive ends playing their corner infield spots. It's a really big baseball team. I would say that I guess they're not a huge surprise because of guess where they were a year ago and getting to the super. I think they kick down the door and get to Omaha this year. But I'm a mid-major guy. Detroit Trojans are the real deal in the Fun Belt.
Okay,
that's my pick right there. That's the mid-major I think makes that Oral Roberts-esque run to Omaha. It's the Detroit Trojans. They've got an All-American in the outfield. Their center fielder is wildly underrated, Cole Myers, who's leading the country with 6 homers right now. And they got 2 All-Americans on the mound in Troy, Alabama, baby. It's legit.
Interesting. Oral Roberts, man, I was like, man, every time, because look, when you're obviously your team is in it and you got to watch every game in Omaha, and you're just like, dude, I don't know how they keep doing it. Like they just don't have the dudes. But my God, you look up and they got to run here. Oh, well, that's a 2-run bomb, whatever. And then all of a sudden they're there. So that's really interesting that you say Troy might be the team. LSU pitching coach Wes Johnson now at Georgia. Are we getting some false hope here with the Dogs, or has Wes Johnson got a squad?
I think they're really good. I think
I do too.
Georgia and Georgia Tech are really good. And I'll tell you this, we all know Wes Johnson's going to go cultivate pitching. Like they'll be fine. They're not going to be fine on the mound. They're going to be so much better than a season ago. So they're going to be fine on the mound. They're going to go put up really good quality innings. But they got a kid in Charlie Condon, who I saw with Team USA last year. That's got maybe the prettiest swing in baseball. There's 100 guys that I could talk about, but like when he digs into the box, to your point, your son is building a swing on MLB The Show like Charlie Condon.
100%.
Yeah.
What do you think I do 2 hours? Dude, anybody can ask. For 2 hours before I come on here and Daddy's got to go to work, it's tea time and soft toss.
Love that. Fire me up.
Fire. But the problem is he looks like an NFL right guard. Okay, he's got his dad's build. He does not have a baseball build, so maybe he can look like Bear Jones. Who knows?
I was going to say, those like to play. I watched a kid hit 5. What Jones has got 4 already. Like I think 2 of them already at 450.
Right.
Guys,
Dude,
the size of my thighs.
Well, what's crazy is, Jack, even with a guy like Bear, like he's not swinging a lot of pitches he did last year. Obviously, he was a freshman, and so his pitch selection that he's swinging at is so much better. So we'll see. Is there anybody in the SEC? Well, let me ask it like this because I'm leading you to here. Lamonis at Mississippi State, is he in trouble?
I don't think so. I'm in the same boat where it's like I've seen all the tweets and I think they're funny. Did the state of Mississippi sell their soul for 2 natties? I love it. I love it. And if I'm in that boat, I'm like, yeah, I probably would too. But I think they're
Right.
fine. I really do think they're fine. What I think we're seeing is we're seeing the landscape change. We're seeing college sports, and I know you're a football guy as well. It's like for the first time in a really long time, the old guy is being revered here. Like that's the guy. We live in a microwave society. Everything is instantaneous. I can't necessarily wait to develop a young kid anymore. I got to go get old. So with that being said, you're seeing that trickle down effect where really good baseball players are having to transfer out of Power 5 schools because I'm hitting the portal, I'm going to get older. So you're seeing these legit Power 5 dudes end up at an Austin P. You're seeing these Power 5 guys end up at LIU who just beat Miami. Like you're seeing crazy upsets, but to me, it's more so the beauty and the disparity of the game that we're getting a really good baseball all over the place. So I look back to, I think Lamonis is fine. Like the SEC is really good. So maybe conference play beats up on Ole Miss and Bianco and State and Lamonis. But to me, I don't worry about these midweek losses or even a weekend loss to a mid-major. I think it's more of a testament to mid-major baseball getting a lot better.
There is no sport that the portal affects more that people don't realize more than college baseball. Like we're legitimately think about this. I had it. We talked to a guy who's been with a scout with the Dodgers. He was a front office guy with the Yankees when they won a couple World Series. He's been on the show a couple of times, and he came on here and told me, he goes, Blake, I've been in scouting for 37 years, and in all of my years of covering college baseball, for example, LSU, there is a potential that you have Skeens, Cruz, but number 1 overall picks, Tommy Tanks. Okay. Also, that is there. Okay. Uh-oh. You can pick it up. Yeah.
I was going to let it run. I was locked in on it.
Well, I thought it hit you in the head. I'm like,
did I get concussed? Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, I hope he's not concussed on my show. You're good, man. But just multiple first round guys on the show or on baseball teams that we've never really seen. So I think that's an interesting thing. All right, Jack, I got 2 more for you if you don't mind here.
Oh, dude, I'm going soccer on the Olympics the rest of the way. I'm wearing it as a blanket.
You look like Conor McGregor with the green flag walking out to the octagon. That's what I tell you. Texas is a team that obviously is coming into the SEC, but LSU faces this weekend. Have you noticed anything from Texas that you like, dislike? What have you seen from them?
Yeah, when you talked about it, hey, LSU is going to have to get back. Right to Omaha using pitching. I disagree with you in that I think the offense is better than you might think, but I do think that the pitching is going to have to take on a bigger load. When you talk about Texas, if they go to Omaha this year, it is going to be solely because of their arms. Like they just played a pretty good Cal Poly team and didn't give up a run the entire weekend. They threw up 27 zeros. LeBaron Johnson is the real deal. They got an LBJ on Friday night. Tanner Witt's back. Their arms are really good. That might be an overstatement because we're just in week 2, but from what I saw, especially what they kind of built off of late last year in Big 12 play, their arms are really good. So to your point, that's a team to me that if they're going to get to Omaha, it's going to be because of their arms. So, hey man, if the Bayou Nation is thinking that this LSU offense is scuffling a little bit, well, they got their hands full, and I think push comes to shove, we're in for kind of a fun little slugfest this weekend.
All right, last one for you here. Arkansas. Hagen Smith this past weekend, I think it was 18 outs, 17 strikeouts, something absolutely ridiculous.
68 pitches.
What was the pitch count?
68. They pulled him after 68 pitches. He had 17 punchies.
Why? Is he hurt, or is there a reason? Like what happened?
I mean, because, it's Hagen Smith in week 2. It's like I'd rather have Hagen Smith at the box instead of Hagen Smith getting a little bit banged up. But 68's like some Greg Maddux stuff. Isn't that crazy, though?
You know what? And I'm assuming he had a no-hitter through that too, right?
So, no, he had given up 4 hits. He'd given up 4 hits at the time. Okay. But it was like some Randy Johnson-esque stuff. It was so stupid. It was so stupid.
Arkansas is always a team, Jack, that is so talented, but always seems to have something bad happen to him. Is this a year for? I mean, man, look. I mean, look.
I know exactly what you mean. I know exactly what you mean.
They are the friend that you have that like is the best, one of your best friends in the group of friends that you hang out with. But when all of you go out to the bar, he may be talking to a girl and he might almost have the girl out of the door, but he's going to do something to fuck it up. I mean, like that is Arkansas baseball.
You mean like dropping a fly ball with 2 outs in the 9th inning of the World Series to win it? Is that what you mean? Is that fumbling the bag out the bar at 2 a.m.?
I mean, I've never seen more of a bag fumble than that.
Yeah, it's not good. I will say if you guys watch that game, like not only did Hagen Smith strike out 17 of 18 outs, but he did it against probably the number 1 position player off the board. Bazanas. I'm not saying
LSU saw him last year in the region. Oregon State's legit.
Yeah, the biggest overstatement biggest overreaction is that is probably a rematch for that World Series that they ran back a couple times is Oregon State, Arkansas. But here's what I'll tell you. My guy, Ben Upton, he's big dick swinging Ben Upton, baby. He knows college ball. I'm learning from him. I'm like a Jedi and an apprentice. I'm learning. He let me know that the last couple of years, from a longitude and latitude standpoint, he's tracking it across the country, right? Ole Miss, Mississippi State, LSU. It's technically Arkansas's turn if you look at the map. So we're throwing logic and reason and common sense out the window. We're digging deep into your wager tricks, and we're just getting weird. Yeah, we're getting weird. That's his natty champ team. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's Ben's team. They are. My question with them is if they had their 21 offense for like Bobby Moore and those dudes, plus this pitching staff, they'd be golden. I'm worried about their offense. I'm not worried about the LSU offense.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit worried about Arkansas's offense.
So I was about to say that. So I know that they had a good weekend this weekend, and I know it's week 1. Okay, when they opened up the series, God help me, who did they open up with?
They got beat.
They beat Madison.
Friday night.
Yeah, thank you guys. James Madison. They have to bring in McIntyre, which I thought McIntyre was going to be a weekend guy after seeing him in Baton Rouge last year. But then I'm sitting here asking myself, like, dude, if we're worried about LSU hitting the baseball, you better pay attention what's going on in Fayetteville. Dude, I do not – like, you talk about a team that's got to, like, win with pitching. I don't know about them, brother.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you. Like, if I'm an Arkansas fan, I'm sitting back going, next to Wake Forest, Arkansas's probably got the best weekend rotation in baseball, right?
Right.
But what have I seen from my offense? I got beat 2-1 in a 14-inning game against Oklahoma State, whose rotation was not good last year. Now, I think Oklahoma State takes steps forward this year, but if I'm Arkansas, I'm worried because I don't necessarily know what I have. If I'm LSU, like I'm looking at Paxton Clean, I'm looking at Josh Pearson in the outfield going, this guy's just dominating the Cape. Like you get drafted based off of what you do in the Cape. Like you can come back and hit $150. You're still going to get a shot because what you did in the Cape. You know what you have, Bayou Nation. We're going to be all right.
All right. We had one text come in for you. He said, this is from James. James says in the – guys, this is the text thread. Okay, there we go. The text thread, Jack, what do you think of – and he says, I hate Tennessee, but I want to know how the Vols are doing up there in Knoxville.
So James saw, Blake, I don't know if you've heard, but I probably am using the wrong terminology, but I can only be as honest as I am.
Okay.
I'm easily bribed. If you allow me to come tell your story and you allow me on campus to interact with your boys, I'm going to be the biggest fan in the world. A month ago, when I got to go visit Knoxville, I'm like, these guys are winning the national championship. This is sick. So that was just recency bias. What I will tell you about the Vols, James, is that Tony Vitello is that good looking in person. He is that GQ. He's GQ as hell. But he's got some dogs, man. Drew Beam is throwing on Saturdays for them, and Drew Beam was he was Captain America for that Team USA team last summer, and I was really impressed with 4-pitch mix, big league pedigree. Their offense is better, like their offense is a lot better than it was last year. I don't know, man. It's going to be a slugfest in the SEC. To me, I think Carolina's got the best offense today. I think that
You talking about North Carolina or South Carolina?
South. In the SEC, South Carolina, I think today is the best offense. I think that Arkansas is the best pitching. I think LSU and Tennessee are the perfect blend of both. And the sleeper team in the SEC that I definitely slept on was A&M. I didn't think that all those pieces coming together in College Station was going to work, and it has. So those are my 5 teams in the SEC. So I don't know if that answers your Tennessee question, but I think between them and LSU, they have the most back where I go, oh, they're balanced everywhere. So yeah,
Chase Lavalette and Brandon and Montgomery have no business hitting back to back. None. It's illegal.
Braden Montgomery. Okay, I said Condon. I'm going back on my word. Braden Montgomery's got the pretty swinging baseball. He's got the pretty swinging baseball from both sides of the plate. But Blake, have you heard Laviette's nickname yet?
I have not.
All right.
Is it sexual?
No.
Oh, okay. You were pausing. I'm like, this.
No, it's the best nickname in baseball, and I don't think anybody knows where it originated from. His nickname, the guy that's got 5 home runs on the season, second in college baseball, Lord Tubbington.
Is he Tubby?
No, he's yoked. He's absolutely yoked. He looks like Cody Bellinger. He's quite literally he's Olsen in the box for Atlanta, but he's built like Bellinger. But Lord Tubbington is his nickname. It's going all over college baseball Twitter pages today.
All I'm going to say is maybe the people at A&M need to stop snorting in those bubbles. These nicknames are getting out of hand here. That's all I'm going to say. Stop snorting the bubbles.
Stop snorting. Yo, can we get that trending?
Yeah. I'm going to tweet to you this weekend, God forbid, if they lose, and I'm going to say, stop snorting bubbles, and you're going to know exactly what it means.
Every time they lose a game this year, I hope to see it coming. I'll stop running.
It is honestly one of an A&M fan telling me I'm not allowed in the state of Texas. If you hadn't heard, unless it's Dallas, they do not like us over there. I went to a game there and went viral on something I said, and thank God I had some people with me. That's all.
Well, it is the big rival. I mean, I would say since A&M has joined it, they're probably their biggest rival.
Oh, without a doubt. We hate them. They don't like us. They wear assless chaps. We don't. We just win natty rings. I mean, look, it is what it is. All right, Jack, pencil talk, 11.7. Look, man, I got to admit, what you guys did at Omaha, I thought was fantastic. You're absolutely killing it. I love everything that you guys are doing. Tell everybody where they can catch all your stuff.
Hey, man, Pencil Talk Pod. My Twitter's DeLonchamps. But the 11.7 guys are beast. If you're bored and want to see what's rolling around across the country, nobody does it better. Dimitri, Ben Upton. But more so, man, I really appreciate you guys having me on. I'm learning this piece. I feel like just a year in, it's like I'm going back to school. So to have the opportunity to come and talk some Tigers, let's go. Appreciate you, sir.
We'll see you this weekend, buddy. Have a good one. All right. That is our man, Jack. Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. We don't have a lot of first-time guests that were as good as him. Some of them are, that kid, we're going to have to bring him on again. We're going to have to bring him on again. All right, let's get to a quick break. We got one last thing before we get out of here. Probably some yelling is going to be involved, but I don't care. Stay with us. Guys, let me tell you about our good friends over at Avid Inspection Specialist. Are you planning on purchasing a home or business? Then you need it inspected. AIS has you covered. Before you make that purchase, get it inspected and find the issues before you sign on that dotted line and before they become your problem. AIS also has you covered if you just recently purchased a home with their 11th month new home warranty inspections. Before the builder says it's your problem and that new home warranty expires, get it inspected and let the builder pay for it. Do you need mold inspections, asbestos inspections, lead inspections, drone inspections? They do it all. Give them a call today at 225-717-5591. That's 225-717-5591, or go over to the website, avidspecialist.com. That's avidspecialist.com, where peace of mind happens. LHI number 11331. That is probably, of all the sounds of this show that we do, this one has to be my favorite. Did y'all see this yesterday? So it was announced that the NFL Combine is, let me start over. The NFL Combine is getting kicked off this week, and Jaden Daniels is back in the news. There was a lot of people, and I saw a lot of negativity behind this about Jaden Daniels not throwing, running, or working out at the Combine, along with Caleb Williams. And Marvin Harrison isn't even training for his pro day. He is training for football, so not getting ready for the 40, all that kind of stuff. Guys, I just don't, again, this is another chapter in the saga of I just don't understand why people continue to say negative things about Jaden. He has to be the nicest human being on the face of the planet that gets this most hate. He has to be. I just don't know of another LSU athlete that's been dogged like this for doing everything that he's done and not being a problem off the field. Look, Jaden Daniels has nothing to prove. A lot like Caleb Williams. He has nothing to prove. Caleb Williams won a Heisman, didn't win his conference championship game. He did not get to a playoff. He did not do what everybody thought a Heisman Trophy winner should do. I mean, in this grand scheme of things, Caleb Williams and their seasons from Heisman trophies, a lot of the same. Now, I said this earlier and continue to agree with it. Jaden Daniels going to the Combine and working out with guys he don't know. Marvin Harrison, Malik Neighbors are not participating. But I just think Jaden's got more to lose than he has to gain. He will be there for interviews. He will talk with GMs. He will talk with coaches. He will talk with owners. He will talk with front office people. Him throwing to guys that he has no idea who they are, it's a lose-lose for him. There's nothing to gain outside of the interviews. The tape doesn't lie. Guys, there's nobody in college football last year from a quarterback that throws the way that he does, that did the things that he did, that can run the way that he runs. Nobody. Caleb Williams, I'm just going to tell you the truth. And I'm going to ask you a God's honest question. Are you 1,000% sure that Caleb Williams is better than Jaden Daniels? Because I will tell you, and a lot of people say, well, the improvising and all that kind of stuff. Jaden Daniels ran for double-digit touchdowns and over 1,000 yards in the SEC. The only other person that did that was Johnny Manziel. Now, Johnny's a different case, clearly, because he just didn't give a damn. You saw the interview that he did with Shannon Sharp. My only point in all of this is I'm not 1,000% sold. A lot of people talk about Jaden throwing the football. Oh, Caleb Williams is better. Guys, Caleb Williams got, quite honestly, the 2 times he played Utah, did not look good throwing the football. What's he going to look like with legitimate NFL defenses? And I do think that there comes a place where if I'm comparing the two quarterbacks, Caleb Williams versus Jaden Daniels, I know I'm vastly in the minority on this. I go with Jaden. I think that there's a lot of things that you can compare on the field. I think Jaden's a better overall runner. Where Caleb might be a little bit better overall passer, Jaden Daniels is right there with him. Go look at the film. Go look at the stats. He's right there with him. But, man, I don't understand why Caleb Williams doesn't get the hate and Jaden Daniels does when Caleb Williams has given you more reasons off the field to question his personality, his work ethic, and everything else. I'm not saying that I am doing that, but he's giving you those things. When he's doing those things with his fingernails, he's wearing a dress, he's in the stands with his parents. Those are just things that you have to ask yourself that have been, well, I guess the fingernails were on the field, but things that he's even said in the media. Those are things that I don't know if I want my quarterback doing. So when you put your head on the pillow at night, you have to ask yourself the question, are you 1,000% sure you would take Jaden Daniels over, or Caleb Williams over Jaden Daniels? All right. Shout out to our good man, Jack. I appreciate him. All right. We'll see y'all tomorrow, man. Y'all have a good one. Peace.